Hi there, good morning to you. Well, thanks for still staying with us, but if you just join us, we welcome you to the AM show.
Akwaba, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're coming to do the newspapers. It's a Wednesday, and yesterday was the State of the Nation address. If you listen to the president, what do you make of the address? I have some disappointment that I'll be sharing. Not necessarily with the address itself, but just the behavior of some of the members of parliament. Very disappointing. But before the disappointment, I've got a special birthday dedication, Ben, that I want to make.
Okay.
So, Chloe Emefa Kumo, it's your birthday today. Your dad, the municipal chief executive for Weja Bawe, Patrick KB Kumo, is wishing you a happy birthday. And I also want to wish you a happy birthday today. Chloe Emefa Kumo, happy birthday to you. It's from your parents. And it's from me, your auntie, as well. Enjoy your birthday today. All right. Okay, Ben, did you listen to the State of the Nation?
Yes, I did. And as I listened to it, I was thinking about the Sompa. You know what the Sompa is? State of my pocket address.
Okay. I wouldn't have said it exactly that. State of your pocket address.
State of my pocket address. And, I was just trying to put side by side what Mr. President is saying that supposedly is our reality and what I am seeing as my lived reality, and disparities here and there. But I guess, one thing you can expect, whether it's the State of the Nation address in Ghana, in the United States, in India, all these countries delivering some form of the State of the Nation address, you would find those in power creating a certain picture of wellness, of stability, which in itself is not bad, because as a leader, you need to create a certain mindset among your people that all is well. If people, when people get to the point where they think all is not well, so many bad things can happen. But I think in painting the picture that all is well, you also ought to be realistic about it. And some of what was said, I don't know how real it was, how real to life it was. But plans and more plans. One thing I see definitely is the fact that there are more plans to continue some of the things we've started and to make inroads into other sectors in there. The practicality, though, is another thing altogether. When you talk about our national card system, for example, and how we're going to harness all of that, the millions and millions of people and the sums of money involved. I mean, we've not been told how much exactly is involved, but then you begin to ask questions. How much are we going to get from this? How much more are we going to sink into such projects? What will be the ultimate benefit to the ordinary Ghanaian? So, touting a lot of matters, but it remains to be seen practically on the ground.
Yeah.
How far we've really come.
That's always the challenge, isn't it? Is how much of what is said on the macro level is felt in your personal life. When Mr. President talked about we had enough food, I shouted and said, "Oh yes," but it was expensive, or it is still expensive. So I get it.
Well, they'll tell you it's on the back of COVID.
Well, I mean, COVID, and we also have to be fair. Nobody saw COVID coming. COVID has been very expensive to deal with. I mean, now we're talking about vaccines as well. Everything that has happened from, I guess, for us, March last year till now, nobody expected it. Right. And we've had to spend quite a lot into it. But you see, that inconvenience at that big level is also felt, and even you would feel it a lot more, because if you've lost your job, and things have happened with the banking sector cleanup, and then COVID coming and other people losing their jobs, businesses not going so well, children staying home for so long, and then they have to go back to school, and you have to pay fees and buy all the things that you used to buy. So for the individual, your State of the Nation will certainly be different from that big picture that Mr. President, painted yesterday. So we're digesting what happened yesterday. Let's do a lot more in the newspapers. If you look at the Ghanaian Times newspaper on the front page, it says, at the State of the Nation address, Ghana card to be linked to TIN SIM passport others. That was a big revelation yesterday. But, we've spent a lot of time and money doing
Already.
other things.
Already.
Now we're going to be linking the Ghana card number to all these. So why didn't we just do it in the first place?
You remember when this entire enterprise of a Ghana card started, we were told about, the chip and how much data it can take and all of that, and it's going to be a sort of e-passport and all of that. So when you look at it, you wonder really what else is going to be added, how the synchronization is going to be done. Because honestly, we have too many cards. You carry too many cards around. And look, some of the cards are not even serving certain purposes. In some banks and the rest, they are still accepting the old voters card, which they have in their systems, but not the new one.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Some banks, I hear,
I know
you
it's the
would go
Ghana
to.
card that most of them are not, maybe
Yes.
all of them are not even taking it because they
Exactly.
don't have the data.
A lot of people tell me they go with the Ghana, and I've had personal experiences. You go with the Ghana card and they tell you this, they tell you that. Or you go with a voter's ID and they tell you, no, this one is not yet. It's a complicated mess. And if our cards aren't usable in such ways, there are people who have told me in the past that I went and registered for the voter's ID because I didn't want to be left out, and also because I wanted to be able to use it for my transactions, not necessarily because I wanted to vote. I didn't feel that was patriotic, but that was their reasoning, and you couldn't fault them for that. So if they can't even do those things with them, then what is the use of these plentiful cards we have?
If you do the center spread of the Ghanaian Times, my disappointment is right there in the center spread. Cheers, jeers, heckling characterized president's maiden second term of the State of the Nation address. And I thought many of what we heard was unnecessary. It was so unnecessary. I don't know what other people make of it. And I felt it was disappointing, but I was also shy, not me fairy. Do you understand what I mean? Like I was cringing at some point.
It was embarrassing for you?
Thank you. Thank you for the word. It was embarrassing as a Ghanaian listening, because I think some of the things just below the belt. You don't do that. And we know that, listen, the minority here, they don't have to paint any kind of picture to us, those who are watching, because we know that they've got great relationships in Parliament, to the extent that when Mr. President gave his list out there, and we saw them at the vetting.
Some people were citing the person is from my part of the country. This person, I am in very good, I have very good relations with this person, or this person is my.
We saw
amazing, isn't it?
We saw them actually endorse all of them. I mean, all of them are now substantial ministers appointed by the president. I mean, so you don't have to, give the impression that you are not friends with them or you dislike them. And you dislike everything about them, because we know that it is not true.
It's a thing about impressions that they must create on the floor of Parliament in these instances. I think it's something they've come to do want to do.
I think we must rise above it, because if you're a Ghanaian, imagine me, I was even in Ghana, I was feeling this way. Imagine that you were outside the country. You're probably watching with friends, or maybe you were alone. I guess it's just the spirit of being Ghanaian. When something is embarrassing, you feel it.
Well,
and I wasn't even watching because I was driving. I was listening to it.
You ought to.
Imagine if I was watching.
Actually.
I really don't think that this is good. And I hope that the Speaker, because this was Parliament, I hope that the Speaker will raise this when we are all not watching and talk to the members. It was not cool. It wasn't cool.
In a way, I think our Parliament, while it is split right down the middle, and it would serve a certain great purpose, or could serve a certain great purpose in terms of the dynamics of Parliament and lawmaking and all of that. You look at what happened prior to the swearing in of Mr. President, and you look at some other things that have followed since then, and you begin to wonder whether the 8th Parliament is actually going to maybe live up to not past expectations or what the 7th Parliament did and surpass that, but the expectations of ordinary Ghanaians.
Yeah.
And when we see them in this light, it creates a certain very negative picture.
Yeah, and they're there to make law. Say, let us see your work. Let us see it. Let us feel it. The jeers, the heckling, it doesn't translate into legislation. We will appreciate your work if you diligently do it, what you're there to do. As for the other side stuff, dear Charlie, I think they should go above that. And a lot of people learning. It was like some secondary school extension B. I mean, that's how bad it came across to me. And it wasn't good.
Watch it now.
Yes, sir. So I'm just going to do page 3. Some updates on some crime stories, and I will end it there. So 2 women before court over death threats. They met another woman at a funeral and issued some death threats, but that wasn't the first time. They had issued some death threats sometime last year, and the case had been reported to the Accra Regional Police. They were cautioned. But this time they did it again. 2 of them, 2 friends. I'm sure there's some history somewhere. Story didn't talk about that history. But they were arrested and charged, and they're being prosecuted now. Also, man in court over alleged murder of wife. And I'm sure that we know this from the news. So this is a business executive, we're told, who assaulted because he... According to the court narration, he actually disclosed to the court that, yes, indeed, he assaulted his wife, actually beat her with some slippers. She went to the hospital, returned, but she never got better. This happened on the 1st of March. On Saturday or so, she just fell into coma, and that was how she died. Her father reported the incident to the Medina police, and it was based upon that complaint that the man was arrested, and yesterday he was taken to court and he's been remanded. We will keep you updated on this matter. And then remember
you look at that man, you look at him, the man himself, and this is no mean man. You look at his structure and all of that. And sometimes you ask yourself why some people would even do this. I mean, why would you even raise your hand? Not on just a woman, on anybody else. Yes, things happen, but when you hear of some of these incidents, and it's not the first time, it isn't some slip up or something. It's something that apparently happens all the time. Heartbreaking, really. Yeah. Heartbreaking.
So now he's been charged with murder. Okay. And then remember the headless man that was found. The police is still looking for, they can't still identify who he is. And this is the Tesano police. So they're asking for information. They've got the body, but they cannot identify because the head was not there when they found him. And so they're asking.
I thought eventually they had discovered the decapitated part.
No.
They still hadn't.
No. That's the
well, this is where if we had the right structures in our country, you know, in other jurisdictions, your teeth, your dental structure, your other body parts, your nails and a few things can sometimes be used because they have a database. Here, well, we're yet to get to that level.
It is in the pipeline.
So, I mean, your hair and all of that.
Ben, it is in the pipeline.
Well, that's a very long pipeline. I mean, let's be realistic here. The state of the nation in that respect is, we are light years behind, let's just say that.
So the police commander, the Tesano police commander is appealing to all of us. If you live in the community, if there's a person that you think is missing, and I think for the earlier reports suggested that he probably was a shoemaker or a person of a sort, and he's in his 40s, they figure. So if somebody's gone missing, please alert the police so we can identify this man, and we pray and hope that they can also find the bad people who did that to him. Ben, I think enough of the Ghanaian Times.
Well, the Daily Graphic this morning catching bits and snippets of yesterday's SONA. It has the economy in good health, President Akufo-Addo saying so, and he is actually talking about the fact that despite COVID and the sort of havoc it has wreaked on our economy, there still are some good things to talk about. Then there's minority disappointed with address. That's on page 16. Mr. Haruna Idrisu, the minority leader, pictured there. Then we're saddened by our children's demise. That's according to the families of those who actually lost their children in Apam, the sad drowning of 12 children.
I listened to one of the survivors there. He said there were about 25.
Three of them?
25.
Three of them that were rescued.
There was one person that spoke to Adum, our sister station, yesterday, and I was listening to him. He was giving the narration. So his batch, he went with about 5 people, and he was the only person that survived. The description he gave was as if the waves, it picked like half of them, and then it came back to take the rest of the half. And it sounded like it would carry you to a certain destination, and it's difficult for you to swim back. But he also confessed that they may have gone further. You know, they were swimming and enjoying
Much farther
themselves.
than maybe they should have.
Exactly. Yeah. Farther than
And you know, with the sea, you don't want to joke with the forces of nature. That's one thing. So, per the story, the news of their passing came to them as a surprise, especially because they could not fathom how the children managed to gather at the beach to engage in different forms of activities, including swimming, which resulted in the death. So some things, when you're told, don't go there, don't do this. Because, you know, like we were mentioning yesterday, they actually went behind the fisher folk. So the fisher folk didn't even see them, else they would have stopped them.
So apparently, and there are other things I'm hearing, that they had a WhatsApp group. So this was like a group of friends who would go and chill.
Meet up.
So this was one of those normal things that they would do. And then, yeah.
Anyway, so moving on from there, ruling party wins majority in Côte d'Ivoire's polls, or the Ivory Coast, and still a lot of turmoil in that country with regard to some of these developments. We're taking race issues seriously. Guess where that is being said? Yeah, your favorite, Buckingham Palace. And let me just get into
the
it.
Queen's statement.
Yes.
It was quite brief, very short.
Belly.
But yeah.
Yeah. And the race issues raised by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are concerning, quote, and will be addressed by the family privately, Buckingham Palace has said. In a statement, the palace said recollections may vary, but the claims made in the interview with Oprah Winfrey were, quote, taken very seriously, unquote. How seriously, we'll find out maybe in coming days, weeks, months, years, decades.
So the analysis on this, I listened to a reporter describe it as a conciliatory tone with a gentle challenge.
Yes.
With a gentle challenge.
Yes.
And it's sort to say this is a family matter, and kind of like acknowledged what Harry and Meghan had to say. And they said, you know, it was a matter of would they respond or not. A lot of people were waiting for them to respond, but depending on how the statement was written, it could have added to the royal crisis. I guess this was...
I think this was a very, like you said, conciliatory tone, and I feel it was the right thing to do. Whoever urged them to go this way, because if you listen to the sort of tone that had been adopted by the royal house after it had come into the public domain that Harry and Meghan were going to do something like this, or they had done it and it was going to be aired, it was very different from what we are seeing now.
Yeah.
And I think the tone is way better now because it makes it appear, oh, we know there is some sort of problem and it's systemic. We're going to try to, you know,
did you see Piers Morgan walking out on his morning show?
Piers Morgan, dramatic, dramatic Piers. Anyway, so all of that happening, but the reality is some of these things have happened over time. We're just seeing them now, and thankfully Buckingham Palace is willing to address them. Page 16.
Whether or not they will indeed address is another matter.
You know, there's that thing about, in the Bible, there's a story of the two brothers. One was told by the father, go and do this for me. And he said, oh, yes, I'm going to do it. But he never did. The other one came, and when his father called him and said, do this for me, he grumbled and said he wouldn't do it. But he ended up doing it. So which of them they are going to be, only time will tell.
Yeah.
Minority disappointed with address, that's on page 16. And what have they been talking about from yesterday? Maybe that explains their aggressiveness. And so there's a talk here about my first major disappointment is the president's silence on our national debt. We have a national debt of about 287 billion Ghana cedis, meaning about 78% of gross domestic product, which is worrying, the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, stated. You know, we've gone back and forth on this matter, previous regimes to this one. So they want a spelling out of our true debt situation. That is one of the things they are talking about. And the minority leader also said that Ghanaians needed to know the extent to which the COVID-19 pandemic had contributed to unemployment in the country. He goes on to talk about some questionable campaign promises. Well, I guess they make them anyway, and then spelling out that the minority is still against the Ejapa deal. And he also brought up the Domelevo question, which a lot of us have been concerned about. So that, in summary, is what the minority has been putting out there. In the middle spread of the paper, identify best practices to tackle climate change. That's according to the president. And I feel it's one aspect of our national life that we are maybe not taken very seriously. On the back page, President receives triumphant satellites. And yesterday, after, discharging his duties, he also met with the satellites who made us very proud.
My Black Stars.
Your Black Stars.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But they are satellites.
I know.
They've not graduated yet.
I know.
Our hope is that when they
we don't want to rush them into the Black Stars.
No, when they get to that point, or at least there'll be that rollover. Mm-hmm. It's something we for a long time we've not been able to do properly.
Yeah.
Rollover, carry on so you move from this step to the next step, and then you graduate to the national team. That's what the other teams in Europe and the rest have over us. They have that rollover effect.
I think it was a real cool, the day after the win, he engaged a Ghanaian coach who's based somewhere else, but he's a transition coach. So I was asking a lot more questions about what the work of a transition coach, truly is. And I was thinking, Ghana, do we have a transition coach? Would we even appreciate a person like that, or...
We have a general captain.
That kind of strategy.
We have a general captain.
Your Wes.
When I heard that thing the first time. Don't worry, we'll be out in India, right? Transitional coach elsewhere, general captain here. It's okay. We do our thing.
Can I do the daily dispatch?
Yes, please.
All right, front page. So how 20 teenagers drown at a PAM. We know 12 of them are dead now. 3 of them survived. They're in the hospital. There was one of them who's also going through the psychological
it's traumatic
stuff, saying that. So he actually has been seeing the friends that he was with, and they're calling him, kind of like asking him to come with them.
Yeah. He's sort of...
We pray for them, really. And then Ajinasari on Men of God and Integrity. I think this has been reported, but Kweku Bako lost his 87-year-old mom on Independence Day, the morning of 6th of March.
Our condolences to him.
Absolutely. Okay.
Well, let's take a quick look at the Finder newspaper. IEA urges government to pass dormant tax exemptions bill. Government targets 40% increase in enrollment in tertiary education by 2030. Ambitious. Let's get it done then. 1.9 billion Ghana cedis lost to petroleum tax evasion in 2019. That's according to a CBOD report. 1.9 billion Ghana cedis. Strong economic rebound plan unveiled to reverse ravaging effects of COVID-19. And the projections for the year, 5%, as far as our GDP is concerned. Government begins processes to raise 5 billion on international capital market. Then, when you turn to page 5, construction of 90 courts across the country underway, something else that has been mentioned. In the middle spread, NDC urges women to avail themselves for leadership roles. And Dr. Feni, women's empowerment is not about equality. In fact, I just want to take a bit of this. She's a senior research fellow at the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research at the University of Ghana. Statistical. You want me to say it again?
No, sir.
Statistical? Mm-hmm. You heard something else there. You should have heard what Mama Phi was saying. Speaking at an event organized by the Achedifie to mark the 2021 International Women's Day on the theme, Choose to Challenge, she said the purpose of women's equality was about using their given talents to change the world and to complement men. You can read further, but I know some people will also disagree with how she puts it, but this is her thinking. Dr. Feni sharing her thoughts. Do you agree, disagree with that? She quotes the Bible, Genesis, a number of things to say that yes, equality in certain ways, but you also have your place. What do you think?
I absolutely agree with her. It's not a challenge as in, I'm not competing with you, Ben. I accept that there are some things that you can do better than I can.
And some things, obviously, you can do better than I can.
Absolutely.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah. So, if we see it that way, we'll make a lot more progress.
You've put it so aptly, because I think that's the entire fulcrum of the problem.
That's it.
So it's like having this talent and not realizing it and wanting to do something else that you're not talented for.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we would use the rest of the time to do myjawline.com.
Let's do so.
But Ben, you would know, maybe some also know Yao Tong. Is he a Co-American? Is he part of the group?
Yes, he is. Yeah, cool. Yeah, cool.
Okay, so his new track that he dropped just, I think, first week in March is making waves.
Is that not what we played recently?
Yeah, sorry. 1 million views. A lot of people talking about him on Twitter. I pulled this from the News One Entertainment center spread of the Daily Guide newspaper, Yao Tong.
I'm wondering how long it took him, because Kwesi Arthur also has a new banger. It's been about a month. He also hit 1 million recently. I'm wondering how long it took Yao Tong to get there.
This was out.
Does it state it? It
March
probably
4.
doesn't.
March 4, right?
March 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hit
March
over
4.
And it's over 1 million. Oh, it's not like 1 million. It's March 4th, and today's what?
So
March
it's just
10th.
about a week.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is the Soriako Pesika. Oh, where's the line? Where's the line? I think it's not coming.
I think Derek will give us some of that.
Let's quickly
later
do myjawline.com. We'll run you through the headlines on our page. There you have it. The state of the nation. Government will engage Parliament about the Japa deal. The Japa is coming back.
Well, the minority says we are not for it.
I thought the Japa, okay. Well, and then you can get a playback of the assessment of the state of the nation on PM Express. This businessman in police grips for allegedly killing his wife. We updated you on the story. Many students have recovered after testing positive for COVID-19. Thank God, according to the Ghana Health Service Director General. Police give accounts of how at least 12 teenagers drowned at Apam. That story, we've also been giving you update on that. All right, so that's it for the review. We will bring you sports up next. And then, of course, today is a Wednesday, so we have our Wednesday package, the business package, Ketsi Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank, coming your way as well. It's all about the State of the Nation address.